Okay, so this is what happened while I was gone. You guys were to have finished your Common Lit pre-assessment. That data is going to the district. So I see it, and I know where you guys are at. Mostly like your reading comprehension level, which is also why we did the narrative pre-assessment, so I could have like a level of your writing. So it's reading and writing. So if you didn't do the Common Lit pre-assessment, we need to do that now, and I have a list of everyone who has finished it. I'm going to ask you to finish it like during Howl or sometime today, and then follow up with questions. But I'm going to show you what it looks like here, because there's a lot of confusion maybe on how to log in. So we'll do that together. Then you finish the second read of our model narrative, which was about heritage in Mandarin. And what I asked you to do was write one annotation. So you might have had to do, no, your class had to do finish up your first read, so follow through with finishing it, and then writing one annotation. That was just to practice, and so if you got confused on that, I'll show you how to review, how to write an annotation, and we'll keep working on that all year. So it's not like an emergency. Nothing really in this class is an emergency. You're all doing great. We're practicing together. Then there was a really messy pear deck, and that's because I was supposed to do it in class with you, and I didn't have time to make a video to do like side by side or make it an odd puzzle or something. We're actually going to do that again together. So if it made sense to you and it was fine, then you get extra review. If it was super weird and confusing, yes, I hear you. We're going to do it together again for reinforcement and just to make sure that that worked. So I'm sorry if that was frustrating. Thank you for your patience. Then there was a checklist to look at the model against what you learned in the pear deck. And so we're going to do that together again, because you have to understand how the model is working in order to compare it to your No Ready pre-assessment. I know we wrote that like 2-3 weeks ago now, so it might be out of your mind, but we're going to go back together. So we have to learn what is narrative, how is our model narrative working, to say what does mine look like versus the model, to set some goals and review. So we're going to go through that checklist again, and then there was some vocabulary on Quizlet for narrative, and today we're going to do a gym kit to play with that. So let me show you where all of these things are. If you're working on the Common Lit, you're now going to go under Class Resources, and you're going to click this link. So when you click this link under Class Resources Common Lit Pre-Assessment, you're already in my class. If you transferred from another class, you might be in that one. It's okay, I can still see it, and that data still goes to the district for your reading comprehension. We'll just fix it for another Common Lit assignment, because I'll do like reading and writing comprehension on Common Lit as well. You'll click Sign In with Google, and yours might say something like, your teacher has invited you to the class. Because I have, you shouldn't need a join code. If you do need a join code, it might be because you put your email address in by yourself instead of clicking Login with Google. I can get you the join code if you need as well, but that's probably a you and me problem solve issue. You should get to what takes you to your class and your assignments, so it should be in the assignment tab, and you should see something like this that says Common Lit Pre-Assessment. When you click on like this title, you should see an article pop up. Mine looks a little bit different because mine's the teacher version. So on the left-hand side, you see an article. On the right-hand side, as you read, you see these questions. These are like multiple choice questions. These 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blahs are some like key concepts or terms that you can look up as you're reading. So this is at 12th grade Lexile, which means your reading level. So it might be really difficult, and that's okay. We're just seeing where you're at right now, so that by the end of 12th grade, you're mastering these reading skills. So can I answer questions real quick? And if you have questions, it'll help the totality of English 4 with me. Can I answer questions on how to log in to Common Lit Pre-Assessment, when you should finish it by, where you can find it on Classroom, what it is, why we're doing it? Can I answer any questions for this? I'll email you separately if you're someone who hasn't started or is in progress. And so you can ask me follow-up questions if you're a little intimidated to ask them right now. I think that's it. So that's the first thing. We did do a question. So now we're going to narrative. So if you have your Chromebook out, we did together this question. What is the purpose of narrative genre? Thank you, 27 in second period. And we did a Padlet. What do you notice? So you're supposed to go to the narrative model, follow the steps that are here to open it in Kami. You're supposed to do a first read. We started that together on Thursday. Yes. And then you were to have written one annotation before you did that question in the Padlet. If the annotation was something that was super confusing, go down to where it says class resources. That's where I'll put everything that we'll use more than one time. So that was the Nearpod we did a while ago. It was how to annotate a text and what our reading process is. Here's the bookmark. We put it into your notebook like we taped it in that one Friday, I think, like really slowly, everyone taped it in. If you lost it, it's a PDF right here, or I can give you another handout. Here's a video that's several minutes long that can walk you through that annotation process one more time. So you can always review that and find the PDF right there to write the one annotation on the narrative model. If this is going too fast for you right now, you will have this video later. So that was how you turned in this. You opened this in Kami, you read it all the way through, and then you wrote one annotation using the process under class resources called metacognitive reading process. Then you answered the question, what is the purpose? We're going to review this today in your journal, or your notebook, which is why you have the notebook out, and the Padlet, which you were supposed to have clicked sign in with Google. So your name is on it. I have some for your class period that say anonymous. So you can't edit it after you post it when you're anonymous. So maybe you'll have to do it again or something like that. So make sure you click sign in with Google and you can see your name at the top of the Padlet. So we're going to review that today as well. Then you got this narrative vocabulary. It's a Quizlet. You can keep studying that. We'll have a vocabulary quiz on that together, but we're going to do a gym kit. You did this super messy pear deck. We're going to also do this again if it was a mess for you. No worries. I'm actually going to redo it because it was so bad that it needs to be like completely redone. So after you did what is narrative, then you looked at the model versus this checklist. So if you didn't do the checklist, you can open that now. We'll keep going through these assignments. I know this is really fast and it's really difficult to do things while I wasn't here. So here was the doc for checklist. You had read through the narrative model. You had thought about what is narrative, what's the purpose of narrative, how does narrative genre work, and now you go back to the text for a third read. So our reading process is 3 reads. Once all the way through for fluency. Second time is for analysis. And the third time is to transfer. So I asked you to, and I did this on the directions right here. So you can watch the video again of me going through the directions one more time. If this is going too quickly for you, make sure to like and subscribe. So you reread it. Here are the directions. You reread it, and I'm asking you structure first. Find that exposition, the rising action, the climax, and the resolution. And then I wanted you to find an exact quote from the text. So for example, for the exposition, which is defined as beginning of the narrative, setting the scene, introducing the reader to the message, setting up the problem or situation the narrative character is dealing with. We also went through this when we talked about, the tutorial from No Repeat. So we really quickly went over this again. But again, the pear deck that we're going to redo will help us with this again. So I told you a quote from I Believe Setting the Scene and Introducing the Message is here from our text. After you do structure, I want you to do language choices because we're doing genre study this year of those 6 genre pieces, starting with narrative. Every genre has structure and language choices. So we're starting to think about that. I asked you to look at dialogue, characterization, descriptive language, those 3 language choices for narrative. I thought how characters are described is from this quote. I want you to do your best. It's okay if this is a struggle. We're going to keep talking about narrative. Hopefully it'll get easier as we go through the genre. So after you do this, now you're ready to compare your narrative versus the model narrative. We also need that vocabulary to help us talk about it. So we have this vocabulary right here, which is a Quizlet for you guys to practice on your own. We'll do Quizlet live. Maybe we'll do quizzes, I'm not sure, but I don't really like them. I think that's like too young for you guys. But we're gonna do quizzes, Quizlet live, and gym kit. So here are your words. You can't get it through like my profile. I want you to click the link on your classroom under the narrative topic. So you're studying this independently. We'll have a quiz on it, but after we have multiple exposures in class together as well. So we need the words in order to talk about what is narrative and to actualize it. So that's everything we did. Let me just make sure. While I was gone, and we're going to review every single thing together as well over the next few days. Can I answer any specific questions? Because that was so much. Did anything come up that you're like, can you go over that one assignment again? Like, anyone thinking? All right.